Welcome to Live Signing, brought to you by Premier Collectibles. Here, we go beyond the titles and dive deep into the heart and soul of each project. Get ready to explore the untold stories right here on Live Signing. All right, we are here with Savannah Guthrie, a world-renowned anchor of the NBC's Today Show, as well as former attorney. Your list of accolades goes on and on. You were a legal analyst for NBC. You're a White House correspondent. We're just so thankful to have you. And also debuting your latest book, Mostly What God Does Is Love You. We're so honored to have you with us. Hello, how are you today?
Thank you, Jesse. It's great to be with you. This is fun. This is my first conversation about the book. So I'm super excited.
All the fans, I want to welcome you. Also, let you know that you can pick up this book at loveyoussignedbook.com. She'll be autographing some as well, when we're so thankful for that. What's great about this too, all of the guests, you'll be able to type in code Savannah 15 and get 15% off this book. So make sure you get online and grab it while you can. Savannah, I wanted to ask you, could you just give us just a brief overview of the book?
Before I wrote this book, I wrote a book for adults called Mostly What God Does. And the complete sentence is mostly what God does is love you. When I went out and was talking about that book, I often was asked a lot about how you kind of bring faith into your everyday life, especially when you have little kids. I have a 10-year-old and almost 8-year-old. And it's sort of born of that, and how this message is something that adults need to hear. We all need to hear. I wrote the book, for everyone, but also for me. I need to remind myself of this, but also for kids, because it's something that if we could grow up having a real sense of this, our place in the world, how beloved we are, that I think it's something that's really, really valuable in a way in to have these kinds of discussions. Kids are super curious about God and faith and heaven and how things are made. And, it's, I think, a good way, a good entry point. And I imagined it just to be a sweet bedtime story, just kind of wrap kids in God's love. And the other thing is I loved the idea that, the full sentence is on the book, mostly what God does is love you. And I feel like put that on the shelf. It's a little poster. Every time you look up, you see those words. And I hope it's a good reminder, not just for the kids, but for the parents who are, exhausted and reading them to bed, that they remember that too.
I love that. I love that so much. I love that, having a note for kids when they walk into their bedrooms, and to have that almost as a poster as well. And speaking from experience, again, thank you so much for a bit of a pre-release. I was able to read this to my girls last night, and they absolutely adored it. And the messages that you just expressed rang true to their little hearts and minds. In writing a kid's book, I imagine it can be a little difficult than the vernacular of writing an adult book. Can you speak a little bit to getting the message across, so these little hearts and little minds can understand that?
I worked with a great children's publisher who had read the adult book, and we talked about doing a kid's book. And I really did have a vision right away. Like when they came to me with the idea, would you want to do a children's book? I was like, actually, yeah, I had something in mind. And if I didn't, I wouldn't have done it at all. It was like, yeah, I have this idea. And I think, I wanted it to be kind of in the vein of like On the Night You Were Born, just a sweet book that you could read to a newborn, or you could read even to older kids. And that it was just like this peaceful good night. So translating it was about, and the editor really helped me. She kind of gave me a couple notes about the things that she took away from the adult book. That one of the notes she sent me was, I like how you write about how you're just exactly where you need to be. You're exactly who you're meant to be. And so that helped me know, okay, that resonated with the adult that read it, but also as a message that kids need to hear. And so that ended up in the book. So I think it's really, it's, I hope, a compliment. It doesn't add to the book. It's just to the adult book. It just sort of fleshes out those themes in a way that I hope is really appealing. Again, not just to kids, but to the adults who are reading it too.
And I love how you interweave God's love, but then also kids can translate that into their own daily walk, and how they interact with others and how they interact with their family. Can you speak a bit more to that, and how you helped help walk kids through that transition, and through that, I can relate God's love to this.
Yeah, and actually that really is a major theme of the adult book is, finding out like the seminal verse that I used was from Ephesians, watch what God does and you do it too. Mostly what God does is love you. And so that's really shot through this book. The first half is soaking in that love. And then the transition moment in the book is when you feel that love and you start to absorb it, you find suddenly you can't keep it inside. You just have to share. And here's all the different ways that you could share and how abundant God's love is for you. And therefore you have abundant love to share and spread. I mean, that is as simple as that is. And it's a book that kids can understand, a message that kids can understand. That was really at the heart of the adult book too. I mean, that's how you hold hands with this message. It's not just, okay, God loves me. That's great. Now let me just go about my business and my day. No, the point is to feel God's love and be transformed by it, and then watch the fruit that grows in your life. And so that's another thing that I think is really, really easy for kids to understand. And I hope it really comes through in both of these books. I mean, I feel like they are companions. It wasn't a stretch to take this book that I wrote that's a spiritual book for adults with some pretty serious themes at some points. It still wasn't a stretch to translate the basic message of it to an audience of children, because again, that seminal verse that I was sort of the launching pad for the book is about that metaphor of parents and kids and us watching what God does and doing it too. And so it just naturally translated.
For fans that are just joining us, again, we were so honored to have Savannah Guthrie, host of the Today Show, with us, talking about her brand new book, Mostly What God Does Is Love You. You can pick it up right now at loveyoUsignbook.com, and definitely use the code Savannah15 to get 15% off. And she'll be signing these as well, which is really exciting. I wanted to ask you, again, with the theme of the adult book and the kids book, can you tell us a little bit of how you've seen God's goodness and God's love in your own life, in your walk?
Yeah, I of course feel this way a lot. And I know how many blessings I've experienced in life. And I'm so recognizing of that and grateful. But when I feel God's love the most is actually not when I'm at my best, but when I'm at my worst. That's when I've really been able to feel and dip into this deep well of love. It's not when I feel great about myself, not because things are going well, but because I've messed things up, or I've made a mistake, or I've felt ashamed, or I know I've done wrong, or I messed up my life, or whatever it is. And I write a lot about that. And it's a little bit in the kids' book too, about that, moment like that, asking for forgiveness and knowing that there's plenty of room for forgiveness. And so it's funny. I feel God's love the most when I'm at my worst, when things are not going my way, when I feel afraid or hopeless, and I feel all those things. That's when I really feel it. And it kind of makes sense in a way, it's like, you don't go like, oh, I had such a great day today. I really crushed it at work, or I did this. Like, no, that's not when you're going to feel like God comes in and fills in those holes that I think every single human being, no matter what the exterior looks like, feels. And so that's how I most commonly experience God's love.
And knowing, and as a parent, and I'm sure you can have experienced this as well, with kids and their little hearts and their minds, coming from their day, being able to relate it back to this book, and mostly what God does is love you. Can you speak to that a little bit, about just seeing the emotions on your kids' faces and in their hearts, and then how they can relate it to God's love?
Well, I really try to do this with my own kids. And I think the book's theme is right in line with this. But, look, I grew up in classic kind of traditional Baptist church setting. And, there's so much that I love about that upbringing. But there also was a way in which I grew up in that. And God was a pretty removed and scary figure in my life. And there's nothing about this book or what I'm trying to teach my kids that brings God down to some human size where we're like equals. It doesn't at all. In fact, a lot of the book is about you are small and he's big, but mostly what God does is love you. And so all those kind of themes are a way for me to talk to my kids when we say our prayers every night, to set everything in the context of God's love, even where we fail or feel like we could do better. And I think this is true of all of us grown-ups as well. It's like we can have courage to hold ourselves responsible and have accountability for the things we do wrong or ways we'd like to improve. And we can do that when we're in the safety of this love. And I think that's the kind of context that I'm trying to set how I talk to my kids about these things. So, even though it's such a lovely message, God loves us. Isn't that great? It's not meant to be like a cheap or easy bumper sticker slogan, because actually to really believe it and absorb it takes a lot of courage, and it's a leap of faith, a real leap of faith. But I think that it's a beautiful context to deal with the highs and lows of life. I pray that Vale and Charlie would just feel God's love all around them, that they know that they're exactly who they're meant to be, they're exactly where they're meant to be, and that God loves them whether they do right or wrong. And that because of that love, we can have courage and say sorry when we need to.
So well put in what you just said. And again, just those truths so well laid out in the book. Parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, make sure you get this as soon as it comes out and read it to your children, your nieces, your nephews, your granddaughters and grandchildren. And it's so beautifully illustrated as well. My daughter wanted to know, did you have fun drawing the pictures with your illustrator?
Well, I can't wait. You have to tell your daughter. So the grown-up book, the adult book, I drew those little hearts and stars that are all over that book. So kind of an homage that's the same big yellow theme. And I drew the hearts that are on the cover there, which was really fun for me. And I love our illustrator. I mean, she just had this most beautiful, peaceful palette of colors. I love characters that are cute. I thought I love that, this beautiful, just kind of peaceful, serene opening to it. I loved the pastels and the stars. And, but this is my vibe. I do not have any artistic skills, but if I did, this is the book I would want to illustrate. I think it's so sweet. The animals are so cute and the kids. So yes, tell your daughter that it was one of the most fun things ever to get to pick an illustrator and then kind of brainstorm sketches and then seeing them come to life with someone so talented as our illustrator Morgan. It was amazing.
And fans, you just got a quick sneak peek. I didn't want to give it all away, but a quick sneak peek of what's in the book. You can get it now, loveyouscignedbook.com. And again, use the code Savannah15. All right, we're going to move into one of my favorite times. It's a bit of our rapid fire. Where were you born?
Melbourne, Australia.
What was your first job?
I was 14 years old. I was a bus girl at a local Greek restaurant in my hometown of Tucson, Arizona. Got paid $1 an hour. Work all day, get $8.
That's right. Oh my gosh. What is the one thing that you have in your fridge all the time?
Half and half for my coffee. Coffee is very important in my life.
Who was the most interesting person that you've met recently?
Well, it's on the brain. I just did an interview with the stars of Wicked, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, and they were so lovely. The movie is phenomenally good. And I'm not just saying that. It happens to be our parent company, but we got to see it early and it's like, I was crying, I was laughing. It's incredible. And then we got to interview the stars and they just had this most beautiful connection. They even burst impromptu into song that was like, not even a song from the movie. It was a Whitney Houston song and it was like perfectly in harmony. And I was just like marveling at them. So that's probably one of my favorite interviews I've done recently.
Oh, that's incredible. Oh man, I can't wait to see it. What is one of your biggest pet peeves?
Well, right now it's my kids fighting. My kids fight from morning until night.
What is your favorite hobby?
I love to play tennis. I'm not great at tennis, but it's kind of the only sport I can play at all. So I like to play tennis and I haven't done it in a while. I used to play the guitar. Recently, we got a piano. I hadn't played piano since my teen years. I had to teach myself how to play music again. And I got some of my old pieces, some of the early, easier ones. And I really had to learn to read music and it's been fun. I played a little bit this weekend actually, and it's so satisfying. And I think that's my biggest hobby right now.
What is your guilty pleasure TV show?
So embarrassed. I have so many, but I'll confess that I did just watch Love is Blind. I'm not proud of myself. Sometimes after a long day of the kids fighting all day, I just need some mindless TV.
Going on that same theme, what is a guilty pleasure junk food?
Are we doing like snacks?
Sure, snacks, yeah.
Absolutely love Doritos. I really like toddler food, I love a cheeseburger, I like pizza, I like French fries. Like I would rather have that on a Friday night than go to some fancy restaurant.
Yes. Do you have any pets? And if you do, what are their names?
You know what? This is breaking news, Jesse. We are about to get a little dog, a puppy. His name is Fetch. Yes, I don't know if you remember from Mean Girls, the line where she says, "Stop trying to make fetch happen." We made fetch happen. He's a
Yes.
black puppy. He's a cockapoo. He's super cute. He's like just a fur ball.
Breaking news, you heard it here first.
Yes.
I'm taking a line out of your book. What is your favorite song and who are you streaming most often right now?
I have a lot of favorite songs. A song that I always want to hear and I'm never tired of is "Take It to the Limit" by the Eagles. I love that song so much. I don't know why. It kind of brings me back to childhood and like Arizona and the, late 70s, early 80s and bouncing around in the back of my dad's truck and the, radio up loud. I just love that song. Streaming, I mean, I listen to a lot of old like Patty Griffin and Sean Colvin. Like those are those folk, they're kind of early stuff with the folky I'm really into. And then for something a little different, Coldplay, early 2000s, David Gray, early 2000s for little
Where is the most exciting place that your job has taken you?
I think my favorite place that I got to see, full circle moment here with your lightning round, Australia, because I was born there, but my dad was assigned there for a couple of years on business, and I just happened to be born while we were there, so we didn't have any roots or connection to Australia. So we moved home to America when I was like 2 or 3, and all my life it's just had this special place and a fascination with me. But of course, we never went back; it was so far away. And the Today Show sent me. I guess it must have been 2015 or something, and I got to go with my mom. It was incredible just to see it because really was my first time seeing it. Saw Melbourne, saw Sydney. It was amazing. The Today Show producers found the house we lived in, the hospital I was born in, the room I was born in, the midwives who delivered me because it was the 70s. That's how they did. And it was just so amazing.
And on the theme of that question, and you have been able to travel the world, so this may be a little tough to answer, but where's one place that you would love to go that you've never been?
Oh, there's lots of places actually. I want to go to Argentina. I have not spent that much time in South America. I have like a couple little things. Like I was the White House correspondent, so you would sometimes go on these White House trips, but you might spend a day, like I think we spent a day in Chile and a day in Brazil. So it's like, you're going for work, you kind of get to see it. But I love the Middle East. I think it's really, really cool. I'd like to see more of Africa. Maybe the job will send me, or maybe in my retirement.
Throwback to the book and some of the pastel colors in here. What's your favorite color?
Yellow. And actually, when the book, the first book, the grown-up book was yellow, like I kind of had to convince them of that. But in the end, they liked it. And then we wanted to make sure it was prominently featured in the new book too.
Awesome. All right, we got 2 more. Would you rather have a year-long winter or a year-long summer?
I'm going to go year-long summer, but I want to say that is not an easy one for me to answer because I grew up in Tucson, Arizona. So summer to me is extremely hot and it lasts like 6 months. It's like over 100 degrees for 5 or 6 months. It's super hot, sizzling. So I'm going to take year-long summer, but hopefully not Arizona summer.
I love that. Yeah, Arizona summer can the dry heat and just 110. Ooh.
Yeah. It's a lot.
All right. So again, you wrote this amazing, beautiful children's book. What is your favorite book from your childhood, as well as what's your favorite book before this one that you read to your kids?
I love all the Elephant and Piggy books. Those I just rediscovered those with my little boy. They're so adorable and clever and cute. Oh, I liked when I was little, my favorite book was Harry the Dirty Dog.
The Dirty Dog. Okay.
And I still love Harry the Dirty Dog, and we have it, and it holds up. It's very, very cute.
Well, we know as folks of faith, someone that always gives and gives love is God, which is obviously the main theme of your book. We're so thankful to have this time with you. If you were trapped on an elevator for 60 seconds with someone that didn't know about the book, what is your pitch?
Oh, I'd say hope you take 60 seconds and get a beautiful and gentle invitation to be loved by God and then to spread that love around. Because I honestly think that's how we change the world, not in some big sense, but globally, one-on-one. Receive love, give love. I think that's the message that not just kids, but everybody needs to hear.
Well, you mentioned it about Harry the Dirty Dog. It holds up. I know that this book is going to hold up for generations to come. So fans, again, thank you so much, Savannah, for your time. We are so honored to be able to speak with you about this book. Fans, you can purchase the book at loveyousIgnedbook.com and make sure to use the code Savannah.
Savannah 15. Love a discount.
That's right. That's right. Anything you want to share with us as we close out?
No, Jesse, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. And thank you for reading the book and sharing it with your daughters.
Of course. Thank you. All right, fans. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. To hear more about past and even future live signings, check out PremierCollectibles.com.